Hello again, everyone. We're going to continue with Luke, lesson number 24. And today we're going to be looking at verses 48 through 52 in chapter 2 of Luke. Picking up where we left off last week, if you remember, Joseph and Mary take Jesus to Jerusalem for the Passover. After spending a week there, traveling 3 days there, spending a week in Jerusalem, heading back home for a day, and realizing that Jesus is not with them, with the rest of the family, traveling back home. And they immediately have to turn around and head back to Jerusalem. So that's where we left off in this story. And now we pick it up at this point. They've traveled back to Jerusalem, about 25 to 30 miles, a full day's trip back, and they're searching for him. And it says that they looked for him for 3 days before they found him. And so when we pick it up at chapter 2, verse 48, it says, "So when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said to him, 'Son, why have you done this to us? Look, your father and I have sought you anxiously,'" or sorrowing, in fear and panic. "And he said to them, 'Why did you seek me? Did you not know that I must be about my father's business?' But they didn't understand the statement which he spoke to them. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth. Remember, Jerusalem is up no matter what direction you're heading. Everything is down from Jerusalem since it sits on a mountaintop. And was subject or obedient to them as parents. But his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and with men." So this is just, amazing to me. This whole story. It says that his parents were amazed, astonished, shocked, blown away. He wasn't hiding somewhere, trying to protect himself, afraid, or alone. He was debating with the religious leaders in the temple. This is just so hard to grasp. Being a parent of kids who were 12 years old at one point. It's just hard to see how all of this worked out. It says they were anxious or they were sorrowing. They've been panicking for 3 days. They traveled another day's journey to get back to Jerusalem. And now they're in Jerusalem for 2 more days, looking everywhere to find him. You can imagine the stress they were under. It's kind of funny to me how no matter what's going on, we always view it in terms of me or we or us. They didn't ask, "Are you okay?" or "How did you survive for 3 days?" But "Why did you do this to us?" And I can understand from their perspective, all the fear and panic, that anguish they were going through. But they didn't even ask how he managed to survive for 3 days. This story is just beyond being able to grasp. And his response back is, "Why did you seek me?" Why are you surprised that I stayed behind? And it seems a little odd because they did what any parent would do. Yet it seems that the Lord expected them to know that he would be there challenging the religious leaders, probably debating with them over what the scriptures meant. And it's interesting because he is the scriptures. He's the very words they would be discussing and arguing over. Well, in any event, he says he was about his father's business. So think about that. Jesus tells Joseph that he was doing his father's business. And you have to wonder how Joseph took that. But Joseph wasn't his father, he was his dad. He was raising him. But did this statement bring his parents back to reality, or it says they didn't understand? So they were still trying to grasp being the parents of the Son of God. It seems to me that he could have stayed in Jerusalem from that point on. Yet he was obedient to return home with his parents and went back with them. But apparently he was fully capable at 12 years of age to just getting on fine. Had he stayed in Jerusalem from that point forward, I mean, the whole thing is just amazing to me, and it's hard to imagine. Mary, we're told, once again is pondering in her heart what all of this means. And I imagine that would be the case. But it would be difficult to be the parent of a divine child. I mean, where are the lines? Normal life wasn't possible. I mean, as we looked at the lesson last week and we finished up and we were talking with Lisa, we're just thinking, if she or her brothers had done that, we would have probably given them the spanking of a lifetime. But they weren't a divine child. And so he was not like any other child born in all of history. He was on a mission. And it's just, we can't grasp how it must have been in that household for him trying to grow up in a human body and for them trying to raise a little God. We can't fathom that. In any event, it tells us that he increased in wisdom and stature and favor with God, who is his father, and with men. So he was growing spiritually and in human terms. It says he had wisdom. Now, wisdom in the Greek is the word Sophia. It means full of intelligence, acute, aware, advanced beyond your years. I find it interesting today that Sophia is now an AI robot, and you ask her questions and she answers you. It's interesting that they would pick that name for their AI robot. He grew in stature or maturity. He was growing physically, getting older and larger and stronger and wiser, but also spiritually. And he was being shown God's favor, charis in Greek, which means grace. He was becoming more like the Father every day. So I just had this observation as I read it. As you grew and developed as a human, your humanity being perfect increased the Father's grace and blessings on you. The more obedient you became, the more grace and favor you gained. And as a life lesson out of this short passage, the same thing applies to you and me. The more time we spend with the Lord, and the more we obey him, the more grace we'll receive, the more blessings we'll experience. It's sowing and reaping. This is how you meant life to be. We should be progressing forward every day. You reward good behavior and you punish bad behavior. And in Galatians 6:7, we're told, do not be deceived. God is not mocked, for whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. So I encourage myself in this passage, and I encourage you guys as you listen to this. We need to be growing in the grace of God and in the favor of God by obeying him and doing whatever he leads us to do. And if we do that, all these things will turn out fine for us. And so I'll leave you with that. We'll get back to Luke chapter 3. Believe it or not, we're going to reach chapter 3 the following week. And so for now, wishing you guys a great week. and we'll see you